Hey everyone, let's give everyone just another minute or so to make sure they get signed in and settled, and we'll go ahead and begin. All right, thank you everyone for joining us for another round of tips and tricks. As some of you may already know, my name is Drew. I'm the manager of support here at Floify, and I'll be running you through today's topic, borrower testing. Today's webinar will be just slightly different. Typically, we shoot for around 30 minutes on our webinars, but today we're giving it a go at a shorter time. We're going to shoot for around 20 minutes or so for this webinar. The topic is testing the loan application as the borrower or from the borrower's perspective. We continue to get lots of requests about this, so we decided to put a quick tips and tricks presentation together to show you how you can test from the borrower side if you ever want to run through the application yourself. A few months back, we did a webinar on the complete borrower experience. If you haven't taken a look at that one yet, you can check that out at flowify.com/webinars. Our marketing team will also post the recording of this webinar there if you would like to go back and view it again, or if you have any teammates that want to watch it at any time. As I'm sharing the tips and tricks with you today, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about testing from the borrower side or any other features or functionality in the Floify platform, please use the live chat feature on your screen to reach out to us. I do have some teammates that are standing by to address any questions or comments you may have along the way. Also, if you have a personal wish list or any recommendations for features you would like us to cover in upcoming tips and tricks webinars, feel free to send those ideas through the chat as well. All right, so today's topics of discussion will begin with talking about the application, how you can start an application for your borrower, or your borrower can go to your landing page and start the application there. The Apply Now settings, so which questions will appear on the application. Through your settings, you do have the ability to pick and choose which questions are visible to your borrowers and also which ones are required. The auto doc request. So how does the system know which documents to ask for? Through the use of business rules, once again in your settings, you have the ability of choosing how you want your document request to act based on your borrower's answers to their 1003. And then lastly, we'll talk about what to do when you're done with the loan flow. You can archive or you can delete that test loan flow. Okay, so is there a way to test a borrower-facing application? The simple answer to that is yes. The first option is you can test with a personal email address not associated with Floify. So if you would like to use Gmail, Yahoo, or any other domain, you can use those. You can also use example.com. Now, this domain is used specifically for testing. The problem with doing a key smash or just typing in some random letters and numbers to say a Gmail domain is that email just may exist. So there's all kinds of random email addresses out there. You might be surprised. What you can count on with the example.com domain is that the email is not actually getting delivered anywhere. So a random person out there in the world is not going to receive an email and continued updates if you happen to just type in their email address. And lastly, if you're using Gmail, You have as many disposable emails at your fingertips as you could think of. There's two parts to an email address. There's a username, which is the first part of the email address, and there's a domain, which in this case is the gmail.com. And the at, of course, separates the two. With Gmail, if you add a plus after the username, you can literally type any word, number, or string of characters after the plus and before the at sign to make a new email address. So, for example, if my address is island@gmail.com, I just made up an email address, I can make a new email address with island plus test@gmail.com. And island plus maybe today's date, 052721 @gmail.com. It really doesn't matter. Gmail does not take into consideration any characters after the plus. So the email will still get delivered to the inbox for my email address, island@gmail.com. It's a super helpful tool that Gmail has given us. We use this all the time in support for testing. So something to keep in mind if you do have a Gmail address. Okay, so let's see this in action. So the first thing I do is I log into my Floify account, which you can see here. Now, what I want to do is I'll go up to prospects, and there's one of two ways that you can start this loan application. I can either add a new prospect here. I can plug in my borrower's email address. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's just say this is Drew plus today's date at example.com. Actually, go ahead and let's make this one flowify.com so I actually get that email. All right, now my legal first name, let's just say this was Drew Tester. Or maybe under the first name I want to put Andrew, and then under the preferred name I want to put Drew. Okay, now I can decide if I want to send the email out to my borrower or not. I can delay it, and then I can click Save Prospect. If you're familiar with the application, you know that when you delay the notification, you see this clock icon right here. That just means the borrower hasn't had a chance to receive the email yet. Now, when you're ready to send out the email, you can click on the clock icon. It shows you a preview of that email. The borrower will click here to set their password and begin applying. So when you click send, this is going to send that email out to the borrower. It'll show them as a prospect right here with an incomplete application. As you probably know, the hourglass shows an incomplete app. If I want to go in there and help Drew through, I can go ahead and click on the pen and paper, open up that application, and I can start filling out some of that information for them. Now, when I sent that email, let's take a quick look at what that email looks like. So let me refresh my page here. Here's the email I just received. Hi, Andrew. Your application with Team Drew is ready to be filled out. Click here to set your password and begin applying. So the borrower is going to go ahead and click there, set their password, agree to the terms, of course, and then set password. And now they get taken into the application. They'll have the registration page where they can fill out their information. They can plug in a phone number. They can opt in or out of text messages. And once they finish the setup, now they get taken into that application. All right, so they can go through and they can start filling out information. So that's one way to fill out the application as a test borrower. The second way, let me go ahead and log out, is if I'm still on my prospects page, and let's say I want to test out my link, because in a lot of cases, you're going to send a borrower your link here. In my case, it's drewvhill.flowify.com, so I'll click that, and I'm going to take a look at this just like a borrower would. So I see the landing page. I have welcome to the VHill team. I have a photo here. Perhaps you have a headshot uploaded. I have my name, the company name, all of my contact information, and of course my NMLS. All right, now as a brand new borrower, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click apply now. Okay, now there's a few options, as I showed you earlier, that you can use. You can either create a fake email. So if you wanted to come up with something like Drew plus 052721, let's just add a 0 to make it different, at example.com, you can use that one. Keep in mind the email will not get sent to the borrower in this case, since you're using the example domain. What I prefer to do though is I prefer to put my username, Drew, add the plus, put in any string of characters here, any word, any numbers, And then I use my Floify because we use Gmail, and that ensures that I'll still get delivery of that email as the borrower. Keep in mind, you'll also get a copy of the email as the LO or on the LO side as well. All right, Floify is going to search for that email. And since it's not in there, it's going to go ahead and have me type that in again. We just want to be sure we get the correct email address from the borrower, just in case we need to reach out. We know that we can contact them. All right, so the borrower can go ahead and agree to the terms again, and they're going to create their account. All right, once again, they're going to see the register page. So let's just go ahead and say this is Tammy Tester. If there is no preferred name plugged in, you can see that this isn't marked as required. It's going to default to the legal first name up here, which is Tammy. All right, I'll just go ahead and leave that blank for now. If Tammy had a nickname, I can certainly type that in there. And let me put a phone number, and we'll opt Tammy in for the text messages as well. And we'll finish setup. Now it takes Tammy into the application. Now all of these questions that are available in the application, these can be set from your settings. All right, again, we've done a previous borrower experience where you can go through some of these things, but if you want to customize which questions are available on your 1003, just go into your settings. You're going to go to Apply Now, and if you scroll to the bottom, you're looking for Apply Now Application Settings. If you open this up, this is going to have part 1, part 2, you're going to have all the way through part 5. You can choose which questions of the application you want to make available, which ones you want to make required, which the required questions will have the red asterisk next to them. If you want to add any custom questions, you can add those here as well. You can see that I've added a couple. I added, are you a veteran? And if they say yes, I've added which branch of the military. And then I'm also asking them, do you have mortgage insurance? All right, and you'll see this on the application. Now, because I do a lot of trainings, I don't have a lot of fields required, but I do have a couple here. All right, and then once you have all of your settings set up the way that you want, you can go ahead and click Save, and those will take effect. Okay, now going back to the application here, let me go ahead and start filling this out as a borrower. So if you want to go through this once or twice, it really gives you a good idea of what the borrower experience is like. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a date here. Let's just plug in a social. I'm a US citizen. If there's any dependents, I can go ahead and list my dependents. Let's just say I have a dependent that's ages 3 and 5. If I want, I can plug in address history. All right, we use Google geocaching. So as the borrower is starting to plug in an address, based on their location, we'll start showing some examples to help ease the burden of typing in the full address here. So I'm just going to go ahead and select one of these. All right, you can see that the city, state, and postal code got plugged in. I'm just going to say I moved in. All right, perfect. Now it'll take me to my employment history, and you'll notice that some of these are marked as required, okay? So address history, you can make 2 years of address history required, as well as employment history, which I have here. You'll notice that if the borrower tries to skip any of these required fields and they go to review and submit, one, it's going to show that this is highlighted in red, that they still need to fill out name, job title, all of the other information there. And if they did try to continue to submit, this button is grayed out right here. So we do need them to fill out all of the required fields, at least all of the required fields, I should say. It's optional if they want to fill in the other information. Okay, so I still need to fill in my employment history. Now as the borrower, I can go ahead and click Edit, and let me finish filling this in. So I'm just going to say that I work at Floify, support. I'll just put a start date. I currently work here. I can fill out all these other information if I choose to. It's not required. All right, now let me go ahead and skip down to the additional questions. So I have added custom questions to my application. These are examples of what they look like to the borrower. My question, are you a veteran, is a yes or no question. And then do you have mortgage insurance? I went ahead and chose the drop down for this one, the pick list. So if I say, are you a veteran? I say no, nothing happens. But if the borrower says yes, it asks which branch of the military. So here they can go ahead and type Marines, for instance. Do you have mortgage insurance? They can say yes or no. All right, we also have options for a short answer. So if you want an answer from the borrower that they need to type in, you can select the short answer. And we also have checkboxes available as well. And then they can continue on. All right, now let me go ahead and fill out the loan info. So you can select purchase and refinance. Now, based on these answers, you can select which document requests you want the system to ask for from your borrower. So if I select refinance, for example, I have the system set up to automatically ask for mortgage insurance, HOA information if that's available. Anything that applies for a refinance, I can trigger the system to ask for those. All right, so let me go ahead and click continue. And that's good enough for me. I've done all the testing that I want to do. I just more or less want to see what it looks like when it comes through. So now I'm going to click continue to submission. All right, now the last thing the borrower is going to see is they're going to see the e-consent and the credit authorization. Now, if you notice up here, before I leave this page, you have these bubbles up here. All right, now Tammy Tester is lit up in green, but if you ever hop in from the LO side via our Copilot feature, this will light up in blue, so the borrower can always see whenever you're viewing the application as well. All right, now once they have these two checked, they're going to submit the application, and it lets them know that the submission was successful. All right, so now you know what the borrower experience looks like from the application side. Now, when you click close, it's going to bring the borrower into their loan flow. All right, they can click let's get started. They can add documents anytime. They can also decline documents. So we give them this 5-step tutorial just to make sure they're familiar with the system and they know how to use it. All right, I get it. Let's finish in record time. So now here's the borrower. If you want to continue to test this as a borrower, you can go ahead and upload some documents. Go ahead and click on the up arrow. You can browse and attach your documents that way. As you start checking off milestones on your side, the borrower will also start seeing these milestones checked off on this side. So how did Floify know which documents to ask for? Well, the answer to that is through business rules. All right, or you can refer to these as auto doc requests as well. You can find these in your settings if you go to Apply Now Automatic Doc Requests. So let's take a quick look. For a quick visual on where to find your automatic doc requests, just go into your Floify account, click Settings. From here, you'll want to select Apply Now, and it will be the second section down. It'll say Apply Now Automatic Doc Requests. Go ahead and access Auto Doc Requests, and all of your business rules that exist will be in here. You can edit, and you can go ahead and create your new business rules. Okay, you're done testing. Now what? Well, first of all, you can leave it in active loans for testing of notifications. So if you want to leave it in there for a while, you can test deadline notices or other notices that are sent out when you add new documents or reject documents as well. The recommended option when you are completely done is to archive the loan flow. It will remain in archive for 2 years until the system automatically purges any loan flows. Or if you want to completely remove the loan flow from your pipeline, both active and archive, you can delete it completely. The email address will still exist in the Floify database, just so you're aware, but the loan flow will be completely removed from your pipeline. So the first thing we do is go to Edit Loan Flow. And if you go to the very bottom, you'll see the trash can icon. If you click on that, you'll see a red box that says if you're really sure. And all you have to do is click on that, and that loan flow will disappear from your pipeline. That's it for today. I just want to say thank you all for joining us for that short, quick webinar there. If you do have any additional questions, comments, or feedback, please send those out to support@floify.com. Have a great day, everyone.